I remember when I was 15 years old, my parents, they invited me. They said they were having a family meeting, and so they're going to the village. And since I was the first son, I must come along. And so the other families that we had the same surname, they were coming together, and so we're going to be meeting. Oh, it just didn't agree with my spirit. I'll tell you why. Because I said, this is not my dream. It's not my dream. No. I went with them. I was there. We all sat down. I'm looking at them. I'm thinking about the crusades. All the villages I want to go and preach. All the schools I want to go and preach. That was what was on my mind. I thought the world is bigger than this. I'm praying about the suffering people around the world. In the night, I'll be praying, oh God, let the poor and needy call on your name and be heard. Do not let them go ashamed. Let them praise thy name. I'm praying for the destitute. And I'll be crying. I'll be crying. Praying for the poor and the afflicted. Praying for the sick in the hospitals. I'll just be crying. One day I was fasting. By the third day of my fast, my dad called me. He came to my door and hit it, loud. Because he had been told I had not been eating. So he hit the door. So I opened and greeted him and said, come out. So I followed him. He said, have you eaten? I said, no. He said, why? I kept quiet. I said, I don't want to eat. He said, did you eat yesterday? I said, no. He said, what's the problem? He thought there must be a problem. I said, there's no problem. He said, are you fasting? I said, yes. He said, what's the problem? It became very serious now for him. What's the problem? I said, no problem. He said, is it home? I said, no. Is it school? I said, no. Is it something you want? I said, no. He was troubled. This young boy fasting and wouldn't eat. So he said a few words and tried to see if he could get my attention on anything. I was just standing there. He said, okay. So I left and continued my fast. What was I fasting about? I was fasting about those who have not heard the gospel. Because I was preaching every day. I was going out to preach to people every day. I was handing out tracts, giving out tracts. I was giving out magazines, Decision magazine by Billy Graham. I got a lot of them free of charge, were given to me. I was distributing them, T.L. Osborne's tracts. I had lots of materials to distribute. I'll preach to those who would listen. And if I really needed to do something fast, I gave out those materials. But I was burdened with those who had not heard the gospel. I'm still that way today. See, when you catch God's dream, and understand why Jesus came. When I went preaching, Not only because I believed in Jesus, but I found out the message worked. The message was real. I remember a poor old woman. She had become so weakened by whatever her problem was, I don't know. But she was walking down the street, and then suddenly she stopped, dropped her stuff beside her, sat down there, so weak and troubled. I saw her from afar off, and I came to her, stayed close to her. I talked to her. She was listening to me. I spoke to her about Jesus and his love and what he came to do, and how that no matter what she was going through, Jesus will give her strength. Jesus will help her and go with her home, even though she didn't see Jesus. But if you accept him, he'll come into your heart. He'll give you strength. He'll follow you to your home. He'll encourage you and help you with your problems and give you wisdom. She listened to me and believed what I said. I prayed for her. She smiled at me. Strength came back to her. She carried her stuff back on her head and headed homeward. I knew the message worked. The message worked. So I took it everywhere. I preached to kids in the primary school about Jesus. So not only did I believe it for myself, I saw it working in the lives of so many others. So I wouldn't stop. It worked for the rich and the poor. Worked for everybody. Look at this. What a cause. What a cause to live for. Now also when I'm old and gray-headed, O God, forsake me not until I have showed thy strength unto this generation. Hallelujah.